Welcome to the video, guys. We're going to take a look at something I covered the other day here, which more information has surfaced on, and it doesn't sound good in my opinion. This is of course talking about the NHS's contact tracing app for smartphones that the government announced last week. Now, the issues I have with it are pretty much stated in the headline, along with the fact that it's currently planned to be just an opt-in app, but there is talk of making it compulsory, which obviously a lot more people are gonna have a big problem with. And like I said before, should they try to pull that stunt, my phone will swiftly be thrown in the bin. But the article headlines NHS contracting app to target 80% of smartphone users, which is rather concerning. That is over half of the country. And something I don't think will happen, but is concerning that that is the target. A contact tracing app could help stop the coronavirus pandemic, but 80% of current smartphone owners would need to use it, say experts advising the NHS. The University of Oxford's Big Data Institute has modelled a city of 1 million people to simulate the software's impact. If there is a lower uptake, academics say the app would still slow the spread of coronavirus. They add that letting people self-diagnose the illness could be critical. That means users would only have to answer an on-screen questionnaire before being judged to be at significant risk of infection. They would not have to speak to a health advisor or wait for a medical test result. So if you have anything like a cold or flu-like symptoms, they will just assume that you have coronavirus and tell you to stay at home and lock yourself away for a week or 2 weeks. Which I'm pretty sure is the advice for anyone with cold or flu symptoms long before this situation happened, and does not require an app. It requires people to do the common sense thing when they're not well. Smartphones can be used to quickly and automatically determine whether somebody has been in contact with an infected person. There would be more people receiving notifications as a result of false warnings, explained Professor Christoph Fraser. So in other words, you'll be told to stay at home for a week even when you've not actually come in contact with anyone who actually has the coronavirus. But actually, it results in fewer days of people in self-isolation and quarantine. The Oxford University academics are a mix of epidemiologists and ethics advising NHSX, the Health Services Digital Innovation Unit, on what basis the contract tracing app should be created. They are not involved in coding or designing the software itself. Their model takes into account different age groups, household structures, and movement patterns in an effort to try and maximise the number of people who could be allowed to freely move about once a contract tracing app has been launched. We're looking at introducing the app towards the end of the lockdown, Professor Fraser added. When you install it, it needs a few days to start recording data before it can be fully functional. The group first published a paper about its work at the end of March. Since then, they have adjusted their model to take account of changing factors, including the fact that coronavirus infection rates has been faster than they had anticipated. They have also changed plans from using a system that relied on GPS location readings and scanning QR codes to one that exclusively depends on Bluetooth signals. This has been done to provide users more privacy, which in turn could encourage take-up. No, to be honest, I wouldn't trust them tracking it through Bluetooth, GPS, or any other form in all honesty. It just seems to me like something the Chinese government would do, as I said in my previous video. None of what they're saying here is making me feel any better about it. The hope is that using the app, as well as other measures such as hand washing and social distancing from vulnerable members of the population, will prevent a second peak in infections or the need for repeated national lockdown. Well, you could have avoided the national lockdown if they would have closed the borders when they first heard about the disease, rather than dilly-dallying about like a bunch of useless fuck pigs. The team estimates that 56% of the general population must use the app to halt the outbreak. Professor Fraser said that equated to 80% of all existing smartphone owners based on data from Ofcom. That's a very ambitious target, the professor acknowledged. It's not typically something that would happen for a new app, we don't care about saying that. Some of my colleagues have commissioned large surveys in multiple European countries, including the UK. More than 80% of people surveyed said they would likely to or would install this app when it was explained in detail what it would be doing. Even if fewer people install the app, the team estimates that one infection will be averted for every 1 to 2 users, so it will help even if most people don't install it. I certainly won't be installing it. I'd rather just keep myself locked down on a personal level than have to deal with this sort of overreaching surveillance from the state or NHS, anyone for that matter. The Oxford team suggests that use of the tool should be voluntary, however, this will pose a challenge. On the 20th of March, Singapore became one of the first countries to deploy a voluntary contract tracing app called Trace Together, but only 12% of the population installed it, and after a spike in new cases, the city-state introduced a lockdown on April 7th, which it termed a circuit breaker. To further complicate matters, a small number of phones still in use in the UK do not support the Bluetooth Low Energy system required, making the target even harder to reach. Professor Fraser said that officials were discussing giving smartphones to those without or cheaper wearable Bluetooth devices in order to boost the number of citizens involved. Oh, so if you don't have a phone, they will bring one round to you. Hell no. Never in my life would I allow that shit to happen. NSHX is also keen to keep the app opt-in, but some have already started exploring the implications of it becoming obligatory. They can take it and shove it right up their arse, I'll tell you that now. I'm sure a lot of you would agree with me on that. Internet law expert Professor Lillian Edwards has drafted a law to safeguard citizens' rights that says any compulsion must be public, legitimate, necessary and proportionate to the public goal of defeating coronavirus. No, it cannot be compulsory, end of story. This is not fucking China. Sharing of data for any purpose beyond defeating corona must require users' consent. No, it must not happen at all. The app is built for that, the data is for that, and nothing else. Along with, of course, the fact that it shouldn't be compulsory, as I've already said. A new coronavirus safeguarding commissioner should act as watchdog. No, it shouldn't even exist. And you can't trust these stupid commissions, let's be honest. Others, including the cybersecurity expert Ross Anderson and AI entrepreneur Kei-Fu Lee, have cast doubt over whether contract tracing apps have any chance of success and fear they could give false hope to politicians looking for a way out of lockdown, which I suppose is very possible. As to whether it will work or not, I really couldn't tell you. But it's definitely a concerning app they are trying to push on us. And as you heard there, they want to make it compulsory, even to the point where they will bring phones or little Bluetooth devices for people to track you. Like people have said before, the cure cannot be worse than the disease. Now before I go, I've started doing live streams and uploading gaming content on my second channel. If you would like to come and join me for a live stream to chat in real time, have an interest in gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors. Slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going and we are glad to be going. We're off.